Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen. Nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we will start management accounting. This is normally in SAP we call it controlling. So we have finance and controlling, they go side by side. Another name of management accounting is managerial accounting or internal accounting or cost accounting. So we have many names for this one. So we'll talk about management accounting in this class. So we have two types of accounting. One is management accounting and the other one is financial accounting. The major difference is financial accounting is an external accounting. It is required for the tax authorities, for banks, for stock exchange, where you want to show your profit and loss. So this is mostly used in external, outside the company. Management accounting is the internal accounting, or you can say is a cost accounting. So mostly people are using internally and for decision-making purposes. So this is the main difference between financial accounting and management accounting. If you see in this picture, we have financial accounting, they have a code word FI, and for management accounting, it's CO. So if you combine them, this is known as FICO, and usually SAP guys, they use it for finance and controlling. And management accounting is basically profit center accounting. You can, so we have different profit centers we can develop, we can create in management accounting, and then we can look at the profitability and loss on that particular profit centers. So now this is interesting. Okay, another thing is today I want you guys to participate, ask questions, because if you will ask me questions, I'll try to explain and this will be more clear. Otherwise, these concept, it will I will just pass on and then it may not be clear to you guys. So please stop me wherever you have a little confusion, so we can try to find answer for your queries. So this is what you call element. So this is the architecture of the controlling. Okay, and in this architecture, actually, you can see that we have product cost controlling and overhead cost controlling. So from data move from these to the profit center accounting and to the profitability accounting. Remember one thing, mostly data is coming from finance to this controlling area, and to this management accounting. We are getting the data from financial accounting. This is major data is coming from finance. Now we do have some other sources that we can get data from. One of them is the vendors' invoices. Whenever, or you can say account payables. All the account payables basically whenever we create the invoice for any vendor, that transaction get stored into finance, and then from there automatically it gets transferred to the controlling as well. So vendor invoice is another source of data for this controlling. And similarly, we do have assets management. Every asset has a depreciation cost or interest. We are getting on some of our investments. So that depreciation transactions or interest transactions, or they goes to the cost center, They get recorded in finance as well. So from there, it moves to management accounting. Then we have like, for example, we are also getting data from human resource. Human resource, the payrolls, you can say that. Payrolls are posted to the cost centers, or to an internal order. Here you have the cost centers, any activity happening on this point, then that is also transferred to the management accounting. Now, for cost center, you can remember one simple example. For example, we have an office, and in that office, we got a photocopy machine. So we have a photocopy machine center, and we declared it as a cost center because we are incurring cost. When we purchase the paper, the cost happens. When we purchase the toner, the cost happens. We have the electricity. We are using electricity for that photocopy machine, so we have to pay the bill of the electricity. We have to have a human resource, to run that machine. So basically, salary of that person is also a cost. So any cost happens for that, we assign that cost to that particular cost center. So we are receiving data from human resource as well to the controlling, in the shape of human resource salary. We do get data from material management, because in material management, when you create a purchase order, it creates a commitment. Commitment is an amount that is attached to that purchase order. So, and that creates a transaction or entry into the managerial accounting. Now, what is commitment? When we create a purchase order, actually purchase order is a legal document. So when you create the purchase order, means now as soon as this purchase order will go to the vendor, that is a legal document. Now you cannot deny that I will not purchase this item. He can take you to the court, and then he can get the money through the court, because maybe he has manufactured that item for you only. So you cannot deny once you create a purchase order. So when you create a purchase order, most of the big companies, they always attached money to that purchase order. One time I was I created a purchase requisition for SAP software services. So they were not creating because the budget was not approved. So once the management decided that, okay, we will go for this purchase of this software services, so they made a commitment. They attached a commitment with the purchase order. Now, so as soon as the company will receive that purchase order, they will receive the amount as well. So just to avoid, kind of that we are not able to pay the money, and then we got a bad credit. So just to avoid that, the purchase requisition or the purchase order, when the company they create a commitment transaction as well, and that commitment transaction is directly going to the management accounting, and maybe it could be attached to some cost center. So similarly, we are also getting a transaction into this controlling from production planning. The bill of material and the routing information. These two, bill of material and routing, is required for product costing. If you see here, we have the product costing. So the product costing is also, we are getting the data from the production planning, and this transaction will go to, is coming to the managerial accounting, and then it is going to profit center accounting and the profitability analysis. So we have many sources that is making transactions for managerial accounting. So up till now, we talk about the cost that we are transferring from other sources to managerial accounting. But remember, the main is finance. So we are receiving finance transaction. We also receive revenue as well from to the controlling area or to the management accounting. So the revenue postings comes from sales and distributions. Okay, and so they directly update the profitability analysis and the profit center accounting. So the revenue will directly jump to these parts. So that is also and by the way, any posting that we received in cost center, profit center accounting, and profitability analysis, any transaction we receive, they are the statistical postings. Yani, we just receive and we'll keep it, and we will use it in the reporting. That's it. But any transaction we receive on this part, any transaction we receive for a cost center or activity-based costing or internal order, these are not the statistical posting, because once we receive the cost, we can distribute the cost to other cost objects. Again, I'll give you the example of photocopy machine. So, for example, in my college, we have a photocopy machine center, and they're keeping record of all the photocopies that we different departments made. For example, we have like computer information technology department, and then we have business department, and we have supply chain management department, human resource department, safety technology department. So all department faculty members, they go and they get the photocopy job done. Now, at the end of the day, and that photocopy is a cost center. So at the end of the day, that cost center distribute the cost to, CIT department, you made this much photocopy, so you have to pay this much amount. Business, you have to pay this much amount. Now is a time that cost center is distributing the cost to other cost objects. Okay, human resource and supply chain management, you have to pay this much amount. So this is what we call cost settlement or cost allocations, and that is happening on these objects. But any transaction received by profit center accounting, from there, it is not distributed. It is just they are just receiving the transactions for reporting purposes, whether it's a profitability analysis or whether it is a profit center accounting. Guys, any question here until this point? Because we'll go for another point that is again. Now, yes, please.
सर, ये cost element accounting जो है वो cost element accounting, so that is the actual equipment आप कह लें, इसके ऊपर फिर आप जो है वो इनकर कर रहे होंगे, या इसकी कोई एग्जांपल cost element की सर, जो lowest tier है.
Actually, you can say that any cost and revenue any cost or revenue that occurs in your organization, that has to go to the cost element accounting if your managerial accounting is active. So this cost element accounting provides you an overview of the cost that occurs in your organization or the revenue that occurs in your organization. So it gives us, so most of the values are moved automatically from financial accounting to controlling. Reason being, we do have Yani you can say that, in financial accounting, you have the codes that you're making the transaction into. Those codes are linked to the managerial accounting. How? Through the cost element accounting. So they are already linked. We create the link between in SAP. So as soon as you make the transaction there, the transaction directly passed to the managerial accounting and to the proper cost center or to the internal order or to the activity based costing. So this is kind of a link between the financial accounting and the managerial accounting. Now we do have a cost center accounting. This is our cost center accounting is there. This cost center is for controlling purposes, as I mentioned, the photocopy machine example. So basically, any paper we purchased, we need to know, okay, where we have spent this paper. So any paper we purchase for this cost center, we can add the cost center code against that purchase, and then at the end of the day, we will know that, okay, we purchased this much paper, it goes to this cost center or this cost center and this cost center. So that is how you can, control your transactions or your expenses, and at the end of the day, you come to know. Similarly, we have something like activity-based accounting. This is interesting concept. I'll talk about that after the internal order. Internal order is similar to the cost center, but it is temporarily. It collects the cost, and by the way, it collects the cost, and at the end of the day, you can distribute the cost. For example, you have some kind of exhibition. So this exhibition is like an event of 1 or 2 days or 3 days, something like that. So what you can do is you can create an internal order for that for that exhibition. So any cost happen, you just pass on that cost to that internal order. But before passing these costs, you have a budget that, okay, I will have this much budget for this event, and you assign that budget to this internal order. And then you start making expenses, and you keep recording your expenses into that internal order. Internal order is just like a bucket. Okay, internal order is just like a bucket that collect the cost. And then at the end of the day, you have the planned budget, and then whatever you have expense you have made on that, and then you can make a comparison of that. Yes, Dr. Ijaz.
तारिक भाई, मैं थोड़ा सा नया हूँ इस मसले में, खासतौर पर फाइनेंशियल इश्यूज पे। मैं एक चीज समझना चाह रहा था कि कॉस्ट सेंटर, जैसे फर्स्ट के हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी में एक मतलब एक फोटो कॉपियर ही है, तो उस तक डिफरेंट डिपार्टमेंट जो कॉपीज करवाते हैं या बाइंडिंग करवाते हैं या कुछ और चीज़ें लेते हैं। तो मुझे एक चीज़ समझ नहीं आ रही है कि फाइनेंशियल अकाउंटिंग की कोई ऐसी एग्जांपल दें कि जो मतलब इससे रिलेट हो रही हो। जैसे मसलन मेरा ख्याल है कि अगर ये हो सकता है कि कोई बजट अपना बजट हेड जो है अकाउंटिंग का, उसका कुछ अमाउंट एलोकेट हुई हुई है, उस अमाउंट से हम इसको माइनस करेंगे या उसको उससे उसके अंडर लेके आएंगे। तो कोई एक अच्छी सी एग्जांपल दे सकते हैं, जरा क्लैरिटी हो जाएगी।
Okay, for example, we have like different departments, computer CIT department or computer science department or business department, human resource department. We are purchasing department, or you can say that we have sales department. Now, these different departments have their own budgets. What they do is they use the services of a photocopy machine. So photocopy machine we declared as a cost center because it incurs cost, the electricity cost, the papers cost, the toner cost, the employee who's helping us on that photocopy machine, its salary cost. So all those costs are there. And now when different departments made a request, so he's making an account of that. Okay, so many photocopies happen for the purchasing department, for the CIT department, for computer science department. And at the end of the day, the same accounting will be from that cost center. Your cost accountant, or you can say your system, will distribute the cost as per the number of photocopies you have made, or utilize the services. Now that will be debited to your department, to purchasing department. That will be, so whatever the funds they have available, they will be passed on to that cost center. We do have like canteen. Canteen is another cost center. We go and we get the food. At the end of the day, he distributes the cost to us, and we have to pay, whether from our salary or maybe our department has a budget, they will pay for us to that particular the cafeteria cost center. I learned this accounting from my servant. He was a army guy, and then he usually go to the tuck shop, and he get the stuff whatever he want, and while coming back, he always say to the shopkeeper, debit my account. So debit my account. This is the one word that I learned from him. So he says, whenever I go, I ask him, debit my account. So basically what he's doing is, the shopkeeper guy, since he's receiving the stuff, so he's debiting this account, and then he's crediting his cash account at the same time. So when this guy pay the money, he clear his item, and then he debit his cash account. So both entry become zeros. And so I will say that like the shops, or like a tuck shop, or like a cafeteria, or you can say like a photocopy center, they're all cost centers. So whether we pay immediately, or we pay at the end of the month, or whenever they set up the system for distributing the cost. So usually it happens at the end of the month, the cost get distributed, or maybe when the internal order is closed, at that time the cost will be distributed to different centers, or to different departments.
तो मैं तारिक भाई ये समझूं कि वर्ष किया कि अगर 1000 रुपीज की एक डिपार्टमेंट को पेएबल अमाउंट होगी है इसकी तरफ से, कॉस्ट सेंटर की तरफ से, तो जब ये मेन अकाउंटिंग ऑफिस में जाएगी या अकाउंटेंट के पास जाएगी, वो उसके बजट से माइनस करेगा, उसको हम कहेंगे फाइनेंशियल अकाउंटिंग. इज राइट?
That is right. So he will be deducting amount from your account. At the same time,
हाँ जी, तो जो साइड फोटोकॉपी वाली की है उसको हम कहेंगे कॉस्ट सेंटर या मैनेजरियल अकाउंटिंग कह देंगे.
Okay,
और जो कॉस्ट सेंट्रल जो अकाउंटिंग ऑफिस है, जो चार्ट ऑफ अकाउंट के साथ मैनेज कर रहा है उसके बजट के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से, उसको हम फाइनेंशियल अकाउंटिंग कहेंगे. इज राइट? आई थिंक
actually you can see that everything is happening in financial accounting, but those transactions are moving automatically to cost center. Imagine your department can also be a cost center, because in your department you have a human resource, and the university has to pay salaries, and university has to pay you for for your stationery, for your laptop, for your tables, computers, furnitures, everything. So your department is also a cost center. Photocopy machine is also a cost center. So it depends on the management, how they divide these departments, whether they create you as a cost center. If they create you as a cost center, then they can track down all the transaction that happens in financial, okay, where these costs were we were spending. For example, another example is you have your faculty members, they go for different conferences, or they're for presenting their papers in journals. So the travel expenses happen. Now, if they don't have different cost centers, then at the end of the day, what will happen? They say how much travel expenses? They will say like 10 millions is travel expenses. Oh, where we spend? Who spend these travel? Who incur these travel expenses? We will not come to know unless we have the cost centers. So, for example, your department is a cost center, human resource, every department is a cost center. So anybody from any department will go for travel. That travel cost will be, it will be recorded in that particular cost centers as well. So when the management says, okay, how much travel expenses? They say 10 million. What is the distribution? Then they can get all the expenditure happens in different cost centers. They can collect all the amounts and they can say, okay, this is where you can find it out. For this department, this much, and for this department, and for this department, we are having all the details. So this is cost center accounting is for internal purposes, not for external purposes to show. I hope I.
तो मैं एक चीज
Yeah,
थोड़ी सी ऐड कर दूं, मेरा क्वेश्चन
please,
लंबा
please.
हो जा
No
रहा है।
problem, no problem. I think
मैं
this
एक
will
चीज
be
ये क्लियर कर लूं कि एवरी चार्ट ऑफ अकाउंट भी तो।
every chart of
जी
account.
जी बोले।
Please, every chart of account.
मैं ये कह रहा था कि एवरी चार्ट ऑफ अकाउंट को भी तो फिर कॉस्ट सेंटर कह सकते हैं।
No, no, no. Cost center is going to be your departments. That will incur the cost, that will create the cost, or that will, where the cost is happening. All transaction, they are happening to the chart of account. Through the chart of account, they are going to the cost management accounting. So they are actually what is happening. It is actually you can say like that. It is everything is financial accounting. Only thing is in that particular transaction that cost number is added. Bus the cost center number is added, or the internal order number is added, or the production order number is added. That's it. At the same time. So it's not like it is going somewhere else. So whenever we want to add, we can say, okay, add all these cost centers or display the list of all these cost centers. So we will come to know that, okay, this is the detail of the total amount that incurs on that particular traveling expenses or photocopy expenses or the food expenses, like that. Another example.
ठीक है, thank you,
Another example, let me give you another example. We go for a production order, or you can say maintenance order. We took our car to the maintenance centers. Now, what happens? They create a maintenance order for our car. And on that maintenance order, there's nothing written on that. Now, what happened? They open the car and they say, okay, we have to make an oil change. Okay, fine. They will add that line into my maintenance order that Tariq Aziz's car need the oil. Then they decided that, oh no, this car also needs the oil filter as well. So they will add a line to that maintenance order. Okay, that is now what is maintenance order? Is a cost object. Again, is a part of cost accounting. So it is receiving all the expenditure, all the cost that is happening on my car. Okay, do he need an air filter? Yes, he need an air filter. So air filter will be added. All the spare parts that are required for fixing my car, it is added. At the end, they add the labor charges because they have to pay to that person. They add some other charges as well. So all those charges are being added to my internal order or to my maintenance order. And at the end, when they finish my car, they call me and then they say, okay, please pay for these, pay for this maintenance order and get your car. So I clear all my transaction. So this transaction is at the same time it is happening, it is going to the financial as well as it is going to the cost center as well, or internal order as well, or you can say maintenance order as well. So from maintenance order, yeah, it is clear now. Balance is 0 because I already paid. And now this posting will be recorded into profit center accounting and to the profitability analysis as well. But these two will receive statistical posting. We cannot distribute. But this maintenance order will be distributed back to me. Okay, it will for the settlement, it will come back to me. So I will settle the amount, I'll pay the money, and then the balance of this maintenance order will be 0. If I don't pay that maintenance order, it will have that amount, like for example, $2,000. Oh, it will keep the $2,000. When I pay, it will be 0. Now, another example, because these are the internal orders or the maintenance order or the production orders. These are the cost objects, belong to the cost accounting or managerial accounting. What happens when I took my car to the maintenance order for the maintenance workshop, and they listened to me and they created. They said, okay, for this car we need to do this maintenance. So they upfront, they told me that this is what they will be doing the maintenance on my car. And for that maintenance, they told me that this will be the approximate expenditures. So that is what we call plan amount. So they plan a maintenance of my car for a particular amount. Now the real cost happens, the actual cost happens. So what they do, they took the oil filter, they added into they took the oil, and then the air filter, and then other maintenance and the plugs and the cables and light bulbs and all whatever is required, they keep on. Now at the end we can see the variance. Okay, the plan was this much, the variance, we have the variance amount. Why? Because at that time they didn't foresee they need to do some extra work as well. And for that matter, now the actual bill is more than what the plan. And sometimes it is also possible that the actual bill might be less than the planned one. So there is a variance. So the actual amount will be settled down with the customer. So that is what we call. So this is where we have the product cost controlling. Any product we are manufacturing, or any maintenance order we are having. So that is what the product cost controlling. This is what we call. On this side is like overhead cost controlling. We purchased a car, and now any maintenance happen on that car is the overhead cost. So these are the things that we are controlling on this part. So in managerial accounting, we have two heads: overhead cost controlling and product cost controlling. This is for manufacturing, and this is for the overheads on that. So we get the transaction, and that overhead cost could be happening in the cost centers, or it could be in the activity-based costing, or it could be in the internal orders. It can happen anywhere. And then from there, it get transferred to profit center accounting, and it get transferred to profitability analysis. Here, product cost controlling, this is where you are manufacturing the product. It could be a project, any pilot project for manufacturing something, or any production orders, or any sales order. Based on that sales order, you manufacture some items and you sold it. So that revenue or the cost will go to the profit center accounting and to the profitability analysis. Is that, I hope I'm able to answer the question.
तारिक भाई, एक चीज और थी, मतलब ये चीजें तो मुझे समझ आ गई हैं। एक चीज और क्लैरिफाई कर रहा था, आपके कोर्स की जो फी थी ना, वो अप्रूवल होगी उसकी। मेरे पास अप्रूवल का डॉक्यूमेंट आया है। मैं ये पूछना चाह रहा था कि इसको अगर हम SAP के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखें तो क्या फ्लॉज आते हैं, क्योंकि मुझे फ्लॉज लग रहे हैं उसमें। मैंने एप्लीकेशन दी है और डायरेक्टर साहब ने इसको अप्रूव किया है कि दिस फी इज अप्रूव्ड फॉर द SAP ट्रेनिंग। तो मेरे पास वो जो मैंने एप्लीकेशन दी थी वो आई, मैं अकाउंटिंग ऑफिस चला गया, उन्होंने कहा जी ठीक है आपका हम चेक बना देंगे। फिर
Right,
उन्होंने चेक बनाया, वो दे दिया मुझे।
right.
अब उसके बाद मैंने से पूछा जी कि आपको कोई रसीद भी चाहिए? कहते
Uh-huh.
नहीं डॉक्टर साहब बस ठीक है, आप उनको जमा करा दें,
Mm-hmm.
हमने देना था आपकी तरफ, हाँ दे दी है। तो
Right.
इसमें ये बताएं कि फाइनेंशियल अकाउंटिंग FI और सीओ का कैसे डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होगी, और फ्लॉज क्या है? फ्लॉज मेरे पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से तो है फ्लॉज इसका, यानी इसका कोई इसका उन्होंने ये मुझे बताया था, मुझे एक बात रह गई है, वो ये था कि आपके डिपार्टमेंट के लिए जो ट्रेनिंग है ना वो 1.5 लाख रुपए की है,
Mm-hmm.
उसमें से 20,000 जो है वो आपको पे हो जाएंगे,
Mm-hmm.
बाकी जो रिमेनिंग पोर्शन है वो अकाउंट वालों के पास है, सारा कुछ है।
Right.
तो एक चार्ट ऑफ अकाउंट जो ट्रेनिंग का है उसके
Mm-hmm.
अगेंस्ट ये चीज है।
Right.
तो इसमें कॉस्ट सेंटर का कहाँ रोल है, या क्या, या ट्रेनिंग को हम कॉस्ट सेंटर कहेंगे?
Okay. Now, first of all, the invoice you will pay for this training, that goes to the financial accounting. Okay. We'll give you the invoice, and against that invoice you will pay us the cost. So they didn't receive our invoice, but they created their own invoice, or maybe credit memo they created instead of our invoice. So that goes to the what you call financial accounting. Now, at the same time, your department is a cost center from the training point of view. So when they will create that cost, they will put your department name in the place of cost center. And they already gave you the amount, and then you will distribute them, you will give the amount to the Punjab school for the fees. So from your point of view, from whatever the credit memo they have created, instead of getting invoice from Punjab school to make the payment, they just created a credit note for that we credited this amount to this department for this reason. And from that cost center, you see that 150,000 is your budget. So they deducted your budget internally. Now, when at the end of the day, when they say, okay, how much amount we have spent on the trainings of our faculty members, so it will so all the faculty members, okay, this cost center code will help them in getting all the amounts that has been spent on the training in the whole university. If they display as a list, then it will be total detail. If they display as a one number, or sum up them, aggregate them, and that will be the lump sum amount of that particular part. So this is actually, everything is happening in the financial accounting, but that is directly linked to the cost accounting. So for cost accounting, they are not making any extra entries. It is automatically get transferred to those. Yani, they get the code of that particular cost center, code of that particular internal order, like that. And by the way, this cost accounting, in the next slide, inshallah, you'll see that anything that is going to the cost is a single entry, is not a double entry. Because in finance, yes, they will say, okay, we have given this amount, we have debited this amount to your department and credit the cash. So they took the money from the cash from the bank and gave it to your department. So they debited your account, and then, and when they will make it balance, they will take your money out of 150,000, which is allocated to your department, and then they will deposit into the bank account. So the double entry system is there. But in this part, in this managerial accounting part, only the cost payment will go to the cost center. That's it. Single entry. Now, within the managerial accounting, if the cost center is distributing the cost, this will be a double entry system, because it will be debiting to itself and crediting to the other one. So it will create a debit and a credit entry. But when it is going from finance to controlling, it is going as a single entry. They're just receiving the cost, or they're just receiving the revenue. A revenue will directly go to the profit center accounting. Revenue will directly go to the profitability analysis. The cost will go either through the overhead cost, or the cost will go through some production order or some project or some other heads which are available here. Is that so? This was the some of the functions of controlling. Now we'll talk about organization level in the controlling. So if you in managerial accounting, controlling area is the basic organizational unit in managerial accounting. This is the first line of defense. You can say that if we want the managerial accounting, we have to create the controlling area. And one of the sub-module of controlling is the profitability analysis. So one of the sub-module of controlling is the profitability analysis. And the highest level in controlling is the operating concern. This operating concern, you can think like a main enterprise. So in profitability analysis, if you say, then main organizational unit is the operating concern. You can say that if we only configure operating concern if we decide to use profitability analysis. If we are not using profitability analysis, then no need to create the operating concern. So this is lazim wa malzoom. We have to, if we want to use profitability analysis, then we will use operating concern. Otherwise, no. But this is the main controlling area. That is the basic organizational unit in managerial accounting. So mostly, as we have seen that the data is coming from different sources. So you can say that mostly the data that is coming from to this controlling is the sales. All our revenue postings are coming from the sales. We do get from purchasing, when we create the purchasing order and we created the commitment with that purchasing order, that also goes to the controlling. Similarly, we are producing some goods and services at plant level. We might be providing some services, plumbing services or some other services, training services, technical services, electric services. So that happens at the plant level. So we are getting transaction from the plant as well to the managerial accounting. So we are getting from purchasing, we are getting transaction from plants, we are getting transaction from sales to our controlling area. The company code, is an independent unit for financial accounting. So at this level, we create the financial accounting statements like income statement and balance sheet, but this is for external purposes. All transaction, as I mentioned, that all transactions are coming from financial accounting and going to controlling areas. Here we can go for this is for internal accounting purposes, to make some decisions and to see, how our company is making profits, or maybe we have like 3 divisions. One is bicycle divisions, one is motorbike division, one is car division, and we want to see all 3 divisions separately. Now, this is possible at this place, not at the company code level. We do have maybe the business areas, you can say that. So 2 business area in this company code. And by the way, one business area may have many company codes inside. Again, this is the managerial accounting code. So for example, business area motorbike. So we have like 2 company codes, and both of them are selling motorbike and cars. And so I just want to see, okay, business area motorbike for this company code and for other company code. So I can use this one because this will cover the both company code. The business area covers both company codes because it belongs to managerial accounting. Any question here? One more time, remember, if we don't do the profitability analysis, then we don't need the operating concern. Otherwise, operating concern is the highest level in managerial accounting. The basic organizational unit is this one. If there is no operating concern, no problem, we can still work on the controlling area. But if there is no controlling area, then we cannot use the managerial accounting. This company code is for financial accounting. If there is no company code, we cannot use the financial accounting. So these 2 are the basic main organizational unit. This is for controlling and this is for financial accounting. Now, we can assign many company codes to one controlling area. Okay, and then we can assign controlling area to an operating concern. So we may have more than one controlling area that we can assign to one operating concern. So, for example, if we have 2 controlling area for this operating concern, then this will be treated as a profitability segment. Another controlling area will be treated as another profitability segment. Okay. So if you hear the term profitability segment, then we can say that we are talking about controlling area. One or more company code can be assigned to the controlling area. Okay. All company codes under one controlling area must have 2 things in common: the chart of account and the fiscal year. So if the chart of account and fiscal year is common, then we can say, okay, we can use them under the controlling area. This is must. The currency can be different, no problem. Here we have a euro, here we have a dollar. So it is not compulsory that the controlling area must match the currency. It is having the same currency here, but this currency is different. So no problem at all. The currencies can be different, but 2 things, yani chart of account and fiscal year, that must be same for controlling area and the company code. You can see here that we are having like profitability analysis, So any transaction that happens on the finance moves towards the controlling and going to profitability analysis and going to profit center accounting. So these are receiving only, bus, receiving ends, for reporting purposes, for statistical purposes, not for distributing the cost, doing debit and credit to other objects. No, they are statistical objects. Just they are receiving the cost or receiving the revenue. Any question here? So these were the organization level that we had in the controlling. Now, let's see that how values flow from finance to controlling. We already discussed about that, but let's talk again here. If you see on this part, we are having like cost and revenue, cost accounting, cost element accounting, and revenue element accounting. Okay, there are two types of transaction we are coming from finance. Either we will receive cost or we will receive revenue from the finance, and these revenue or the cost will move towards, from the overhead controlling or cost controlling or to the internal orders. It may go to the processes, it may go to the cost center, it may go to the cost objects. Cost object could be a maintenance order or could be a production order, and the profitability segments. You remember we talk about profitability segment could be, the controlling area. And then things are moving to the profit center or, yeah. Now, we have like two types of, two areas, main areas in the controlling. One is product cost controlling and the other one is overhead cost controlling. We have seen the previous example, let me see on the next slide. You see, let me take you back to the previous slide again. This one, you see that the cost element accounting, the transactions are coming from the bottom, from the finance, and is going to the overhead cost controlling or product cost controlling. You see that? So there are two different areas that we are receiving the transaction to: product cost controlling and overhead cost controlling. So let's go to the product cost controlling and overhead cost controlling. So the costs are coming. We are receiving the cost in the cost center. We are receiving the cost in internal order. Now, this cost center will distribute the cost. You see here is distributing the cost to another cost object. This might be a photocopy machine, and this might be a department. So it is distributing the cost to the cost centers. It might be sending to the processes, and we are receiving the cost from the different processes, is coming through the internal order. So we are receiving the cost in internal order. Maybe it is an event, and that event is being distributed. Okay, event was for HR department, event was for sales department. So okay, we have the event here, and now the cost is moving towards the human resource department, and the cost is going to the sales department. Like there was a cost for the training, and now the training cost is going to the, is going to one department and going to another department. Now, activity-based cost, this processing, this is a very interesting part, by the way. This is what we call activity-based costing. Normally what happens, many businesses uses the cost of goods sold, how much cost happen on the manufacturing of that cost to determine how much should be the price of that product. Okay, so their more focus is on the cost of that goods. But they mostly focus on the direct cost. They don't focus on the overheads, indirect cost. So any company, any business who is using the cost of goods sold to determine the price of a product, actually they are ignoring the indirect cost that happens on that product. Some businesses, what they do is they take the overhead expenses and allocate evenly on all products. Okay, for example, the electricity bill and the human resource, the machines, wear and tear. They took it, and okay, at the end of the day, they found out that 100,000 is the overhead expenditures. So they distribute that cost on all the products. That is also not good, because some product may cost more overheads than the other cost. For example, we have two types of soaps. One is medicated soap and the other one is normal. And the testing of medicated soap will cost you more as compared to the normal soap. What will happen if you mix the cost? Then you will not be able to to whom I'm making more expenses and to whom I'm making more profits. But activity-based costing, yeah, it happens if you are making soap A and it is costing you more money, and so based on that activity it will receive all the cost. Soap B, based on the activity-based processing, it will take the cost. So in this way, every product will have its own cost. That is what we call activity-based costing, or anything happen in the processes. That is what we are. Now, again, this is so basically, finance is the primary source of all transaction going to the controlling. Most expense posting, in the GL, all the expense posting in the GL ends up in the controlling. They go to as a cost posting, they're going to the controlling. Now, we do the purchase order, in material management, that also generate a commitment posting, and it goes to the commitment goes to the managerial accounting. Goods issue generate a cost posting, and it goes to the controlling. Production planning, the bill of material and routing, they are used in the costing. They are used in the costing. These cost goes to the assets accounting. Assets accounting, that also goes to the depreciation and the interest, anything happen is going to the human capital management, the human resource, all the cost happening going to the cost. Sales and distribution, any profit happen, any revenue happen, see here, directly going to the profit center, to the profitability analysis, directly. Now, in this slide, you see that the transaction happened in finance. And when we move that transaction, it goes as a single entry into the cost. In finance is amount debit and credit amount. We are debiting one account, crediting another account. But when it goes to the controlling, it goes as a single entry, the cost element. So when we post an entry in finance to a GL account, either it could be expense or it could be revenue. So there are two postings, revenue or cost, expense. And the primary cost element, see here, it already exists in the core and is already linked with the GL account. So any transaction you make in that GL account automatically comes to the controlling. And this is one-sided entry, only transferring the expense or the revenue in the controlling area. But now from here, if you create a transaction to, if any cost movement happen in this, it will be double entry system, because the sender will be debited and the receiver will be credited with that amount. Sorry, the system will credit the sender and debit the receiver. I made mistake here. So the sender will be credited and the receiver will be debited. Same as financial accounting system. Any question here? Now we have this is true and statistical object. Okay. We have like we just saw that we have a cost center, we have internal orders, the cost objects, the project, and the networks, and the profitability segments. They are the true objects. True objects mean they are receiving the cost. In the controlling, they are receiving cost, single entries, or they are receiving revenue, cost. So they are receiving, and then they are distributing from them. Okay, they are distributing their cost. They are distributing the cost to other objects. So since they are distributing the cost to other objects, that's why we call them true object. Like a photocopy machine cost center is receiving a cost and then it is distributing the cost to different cost centers or objects, cost objects. So they are the true objects. And then we have the statistical object. I think I mentioned that profit center, profitability analysis, they're all statistical objects. They are just receiving for reporting purposes. That's it for today, because the next slide is for next chapter, inshallah. We'll do it next time. But before I say that, before we start the chapter number 5, I would like you guys to do the material management case study, and that will help you in understanding this chapter more, as compared to if you did not have the case study and then you try to understand, it will give you, so it is preferable to do the case study first.